When I posted my Rick Simpson oil video, a lot of people said they were receiving benefits. So I thought I'd give you a video on how to make something that's relatively close to Rick Simpson oil. It's not the same, but it's relatively close. And a lot of you may have heard of it. It's called rosin. And that is typically made by taking bud and then pressing it and heating it at the same time. They have presses, but the easiest way to do it at home is you take parchment paper, put the bud inside that, fold it over. Now, a lot of people like to use hair straighteners. I'm not crazy about that idea. I like to use an iron, just a plain old iron on a medium heat setting, about 200, 250 degrees. You don't want it too hot because then it burns off the terpenes. So put the bud in the parchment paper, fold it over, iron it for 4 or 5 seconds, flip it over, iron the other side, open it up, take the bud out, and you'll be left with extract, whatever you want to call it, rosin. Take that bud and do it again in a fresh piece of parchment paper. Both sides, pressing with a decent amount of pressure. Open it up, you should get more out. Then if you want, move the bud around, break it up a little bit, do it again in a third piece of parchment paper. Again, pressing one side, flipping it over, pressing the other side. Now, when you open up those 3 pieces of parchment paper, they would be covered with essentially THC, terpenes, probably some flavonoids, maybe some other plant components. You scrape that, you can put it into a dab container, you can smoke it, you can vape it, you can eat it. Depending on the bud, how well you did the extraction, it can be 60, 70, 80% in strength. What do you do with that old bud? I would save it and still smoke it, because extracting all the THC and terpenes in this method is a great way of doing it, but unfortunately it's not that super efficient. And unless you have a rosin press, you're probably going to leave some THC in the bud. And this can be kind of expensive because bud is expensive depending on where you live. But this is a good way of getting something that's relatively close to Rick Simpson oil, and it's safe to do in your house. I'll shoot another video on how to do it with some solvents, but that's a little more dangerous.